Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Freshfit Podcast. We have a special guest in the house, Attorney Jennifer Pratt. Guys, this is going to be one of the most important episodes we've ever done. Get your notebooks out. This is very important. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Freshfit Podcast. Guys, we've been bracing ourselves for this one, man. This is a very important episode. But before we get into that, shameless selling, DMsOnDemandSystem.com is up, guys, where we teach you guys how to get girls on Instagram and become more attractive. But once you get the girl and you live your life, some things might come into place where you guys need to know what you're doing. And that's why we have Jennifer Pratt in the house.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you and your team.
And Jen, can you introduce yourself to the people, please?
Sure. So I am a Florida licensed attorney, and I'm located in Miami, Florida. I am a managing partner at Prada Law Firm. Prada, like the bag that my husband doesn't want to buy me. Anyway, no relation to Prada, by the way. It's actually for the two founding partners, Joel Damas, and then my name, Jennifer Pratt, so Prada. I'm going into my 11th year as an attorney, so I am by no means an expert or specialist, but I have handled several different divorces, both at the pre-litigation stage and at the litigation stage and at post-judgment, which I also want to talk to you, because sometimes even once the divorce is over, the nightmare is still not over. So we could talk about that too.
Yeah, for sure.
I've dealt with various types of people, all from high asset value men, like I know you guys communicate a lot with, and people who are just barely making it and need to get a divorce. So there's no I've done it all, from very high value divorces to just regular schmegular labor, blue collar people, my family, getting divorced. So
broad range of experience, which is great.
We have offices in Medellin, Colombia, for our international viewers. If anyone's out there in Colombia, what's up? I am Colombian, so holla, but I'm not on OnlyFans. And because I know that's the typical answer around here, so no. But you can follow me on thefloridabar.org. I am a licensed attorney since 2010, and we also have an office in Midtown, Miami, not too far from here, where our family attorney, who happens to be my husband, Daniel Silver, handles all our family law cases. Our first consultation is free, and our number is super easy, 8888-88-LEGAL. Can't get any easier. Not even the phone call is free.
Oh, also, man, that is stupid proof.
Quick note, this is not legal advice.
So I want to start off by saying, before we get into any legal questions, that this is not intended to be legal advice. I'm going to be talking general. Every case is different, fact specific, and the fact that I'm on your show today, while I do highly appreciate it, does not create any attorney-client privilege relationship between myself or any of your viewers. However, like I mentioned earlier, we do have free consultations. We do telephonic, we do Zoom, and in person, both in Doral and Midtown, Miami. So you're free to come to our office and meet with us to discuss the specifics of your case. And I think you guys are providing all our handles and all our information.
All her stuff is below, guys.
Feel free
she's the real deal.
Reach out. Happy to help. And we do all areas of law, by the way. We are a full service law firm. That's actually what we pride ourselves in. So while we are discussing divorce tonight, we do everything from immigration to civil cases, bankruptcy. We do a lot of bankruptcy, corporate, individuals, so a wealth of information.
Guys, you got an all-in-one package right here.
And not to mention, she helped us out with some stuff right before we went on there. That's why we're a little late. So guys, we vouch for her. Let's hit these super chats real quick. CPOX and RP Ninja, $5 attractive. Female divorce, great attorney. She is the what? Okay, continue on. Another one, Adriana Valentino, Australia, $10. This lawyer is hot. Uncle Joe just stacked it 3 times. Not even Secret Service ran to help. WTF serves you right for cheating. Yep. And you guys are going to see why she's good at what she does here in a second. $2. Will you ask how ESQ rate herself? No, this is not one of those podcasts, guys. This is pay attention. This is going to save you thousands, if not millions of dollars over the course of your lifetime, what she's going to teach you guys. So please show some respect.
That's correct.
There are some, $100 super chat. Divorce grape is real, along with many other ways to punish men. Bad narrative. Speak them hard truths. Thank you so much. So, guys, get your notebooks ready. JB, love me a Colombian mommy. Hashtag lawyer bae. They remember you.
Yeah.
Mike no goes owns $5. I see her ads all the time on the Jamie Bailey show. After my divorce, I'm never getting married again. Regards and greetings from Wynwood. Guys, we're going to talk about what you could do before divorce, before the marriage, during the marriage, and after the marriage to protect yourself from getting divorce raped. So Valentino, Australia, God bless Myron and Fresh, gentlemen. A great quote. Look after yourself in every aspect and the people that care about you the way you care about them. For sure.
Well said, man. Well said.
So we're caught up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like most guys, right, deep down, they want to find a girl and they want to find a wife. And one of the things that happens is like they just, go out there, they find a girl, but they don't vet them properly well enough. Mm-hmm. What happens is they find a hot girl, whatever, they marry her, but they don't think about the after repercussions of what happened. So I just want to know, for example, what does divorce mean to you?
Right. So divorce is a legal process where after you two have entered into this marriage, which is a contract. And that's what I think everybody should leave here understanding, that this is a partnership. And just like, and I don't want to get into it with y'all right now, but like, that's how I would think. And if not, we can talk about it later. Y'all have formed this partnership, right? I would hope that at some point, if not already, you have something in writing. And that's just the reality of it. And I know that it's not sexy and people don't want to hear it and they say it's unromantic, but it's a partnership. Two people literally become one when you get married. So at that point, when you're getting a divorce, you are basically splitting one person into two again. And so a divorce process is a legal process. Every state is different. Oh, that was another caveat I needed to start off with. I'm only licensed in the state of Florida. So everything I'm going to talk about today is only about the state of Florida. I can't tell you about New York or any other state. And so with that being said, the parties have to be married in order for you to have a divorce. If you're just casually dating, or even if you have 10 children together, we do not have common law marriage here in Florida. So even if you live with your wife and you call her a wife and you put her out to society as a wife, that doesn't necessarily mean she's your wife. In Florida, you need to be married legally, go to the courthouse.
And real quick, can you tell the people what a common law marriage is?
Yeah. So a common law marriage is, depending on the different jurisdictions, X number of years. I want to say usually around 20 years, you're living together. You say that's my wife. You introduce her as your wife. So some states, and I think it's very little at this point, if I'm not mistaken, probably like a handful, but don't quote me on that. I know there are countries, a lot of people, if you're looking at other countries, that it is the case that they still believe in common law marriage. You housed her, you wiped her, you called her a wife, you gave her kids, she lived in your house, she's now your wife. So at the time of a separation, because it's not a divorce, right? At that point, there's no divorce. You don't go to court to separate. Then there may be some, assets or some liabilities that you might be responsible for. But here in Florida, at least, and generally speaking in the U.S., you have to get married. And so divorce is the process of finalizing and ending that contractual relationship with your partner. And by the way, this includes men with men, women and women, and obviously, heterosexuals together as well, and any combination thereof.
Excellent answer, man. Putting on a clinic. Now you guys know why she's on the show. So I think a lot of people, seem to conflate alimony versus child support versus can you define for the people what is alimony versus what is child support and the differences between them?
Absolutely. So alimony is going to be income that you're paying, support. It's spousal support. So it's going to be for the needs and necessities of the spouse, that the one you're divorcing. And at least here in Florida, again, I stress, I'm only talking about Florida. It's, I think that, and that's actually one of the myths that I have written down that we're going to talk about, is that like automatically I'm going to have to pay alimony. Some cases I might look you in the eye and say, sorry, dog, you're screwed. You can pay some alimony,
Yeah.
And that's another thing, real quick, if I could just real quick.
Yeah, please.
With divorce and with any attorney, and I think something that I pride myself in, and I'm not trying to upsell myself at all, but because I know there are some attorneys like me, but unfortunately, and I love the profession, otherwise I wouldn't be an attorney, but the reality is there are good attorneys, there are bad attorneys. We all know that, right? Mm-hmm. So just like there's good cops, just like there's good podcasters, bad podcasters, whatever, right? So y'all are great. So
thank you.
But with that being said, I'm never gonna BS you. I'm not gonna sell you a dream and tell you that, we're gonna take her to court, we're not gonna pay her anything. Like, au contraire, and I was telling you this earlier before we started, if I'm representing the high asset person, my job is to try to limit their exposure, and I want to get in and get out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to drag on this divorce forever and ever and ever and ever, because it's gonna probably cost you money, because since you are the higher earner, you probably will also have to pay her attorney fees. And I'm telling you now, these attorneys that I'm talking about, vultures. When they see, he makes how much? Great. And they're filing and doing all sorts of stuff just to get money, just to get them paid. And I always tell my clients, like, how much is this going to cost? it's going to cost as much as you fight. Because the more you fight and figure about every little thing, that's the longer the case is going to go on. But back to your original question, because I'm good at that, like going all over the place.
No, it's fine.
So alimony is for the spouse. There's all different sorts of different types of alimony, at least here in Florida, and I'm happy to go into them. I made my notes because there's no way I can know everything off the top of my head. I'm not that great. Yeah. But anyway, and then child support, believe it or not, is not for your baby mama's nails or hair or her car or her rims. It is supposed to be only for the child's necessities. Child support in the state of Florida is based on a pure formula, as is relatively so is alimony. It's based on some sort of formula, usually based on your incomes, both of y'all. And then as far as, the child support, it's something, by the way, both cannot be waived. So even if you're going to do a prenup, you cannot waive, you can waive alimony. You cannot waive child support. Again, I'm talking only Florida here.
Yeah.
And the other
that's a big tip right there. Yeah,
you can't waive child support because it's in the best interest of the child, and so we're not ever gonna But alimony, you're an adult, and if that's what you choose to waive in your, for example, prenuptial agreement, then or postnuptial agreement, that's slightly a different story. But with that being said, it's all formulas. It's based on income, and as far as child support, I could go on and on. It's also based on time sharing. So it's really important for the men watching to have a relationship with your children, and don't let the divorce make you stray away from your children. Au contraire, not just for the monetary purposes, not just because, I want to reduce my child support, but because you want to still stay in your child's life as well. So keep that in mind too. Obviously, the more overnight you have with your child, the less your child support will go down. But it's not going to make a huge difference. And people always say, child support, it's so much money. In the grand scheme of things, it's really not that much money typically. You're usually not talking thousands and thousands of dollars unless you're like a Dwayne Wade, and what did he do? He took the kids from her,
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
But how do you, like, for example, let's say, right, I want to be smart about this and I have Bitcoin. Right?
Oh Lord.
Could I put money into Bitcoin to avoid paying certain things like alimony and child support?
So this is
shielding your assets.
Yeah.
So look, for Daniel and I talk about it all the time, right? When we have a W-2 employee, I'm not going to lie to you, it makes things so much easier, right? Because you're on paper, that's it. When you have a business owner like yourselves or even me, there's a lot of room for this kind of behavior, right? And so if we know that we're going to have to track down the money, and you usually know how because the person is self-employed, owns several businesses, has a lot of assets or whatnot. It's not just a regular, and I don't mean it to offend anybody. I just mean just simple. Let's call it simple. W-2 employee. That is just easy. Here's my W-2. This is what I make. That's it.
Yep.
You do have to engage in the process of discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Discovery is once I've filed a divorce, or once you filed a divorce, the other side as well as yourself, you're going to have a chance to discovery, and you can inquire into anything and everything. And Bitcoins is actually one of those areas that a lot of attorneys, including our office, are having to brush up on, because we are noticing that this is where people are going to hide their money. And so you're going to want to have an attorney. If you're a spouse that your wife or your husband does this kind of stuff, or you suspect that they do this kind of stuff, you're going to want to, in that first initial meeting with your attorney, ask them, do you know what a Bitcoin is? Because if I don't know what it is, how can I look for it?
Yeah.
So fellas, don't tell her what Bitcoin is.
I'll tell you, I had a divorce, real talk. I had a divorce where what the guy did, and I thought it was kind of genius, even though I did catch him and I did eventually get him on dissipation, more on that in a second, is he was putting everything via, he was buying it, the Bitcoins, through Zelle. Right, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know much. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know much about Bitcoin.
You can buy it on Cash App now. Yeah.
Right. So he was buying it through Zelle, and then he said he lost it all. And because once you send the money, it kind of goes into no man's land.
Yeah.
And this was a divorce that I handled about 3 years ago, so it was really less popular than it is today.
Yeah.
We were kind of like, ooh, what? Okay, where did this money go? How do we find this money? So at the end of the day, it's thankfully it didn't matter too much.
A cold storage wallet, a cold storage crypto wallet.
We were still able to show that it had been dissipation, that he clearly was trying to just hide money. It was so obvious. It was like, don't be so obvious, guys. Don't file the divorce or get served, and the next day you transfer the money.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious you were trying to hide it. Oh, all of a sudden you never, because I'm going to get as many years back pretty much as I want of your bank statements.
Right.
Homeboy ain't never had ever in his life a Zelle transaction for Bitcoins, and all of a sudden he got served, and a week later, all of us, can you please not be so obvious? Thank you.
Hold on. And then on the other side, right? How do you know the woman is spending the money on child support for the kid and not for herself?
You know, that is the $1 million question that everybody, you know, would wish that. And by the way, I want you to know that there are some. So who makes the rules? At least again here in Florida, the legislator, right? We amongst us family attorneys, we have talked about, because who makes the laws? Lawyers, legislators. We're not, you know. We have talked about putting some sort of accountability on that money. And, you know, it's been talked about, but it's not in the statute. So technically speaking, in a perfect world, right, if I give you $500 a month, I should get an accounting of that. I should be able to know, like, at least that's how I feel. You know, that's how I really do believe that you should be able to get an accounting of where that $500 a month went, or whatever your child support is. Unfortunately, right now at this time, there's no sort of avenue, there's no mechanism for that. But it is something that a lot of attorneys have discussed that should be implemented in the statute, you know, but it's not there.
So a quick recap, because we just got a whole bunch of new viewers coming in.
Yeah.
Guys, on your way, please like the video, comment, subscribe. We're going to keep this video up because this is very important information. And I don't want to stop the video, get likes. Just like the video on your way in, guys. We're growing real quick. Help push us in the algorithm, because this will reach more men to help them protect themselves so they don't get divorced, raped. Oh my God, a bunch of super chats. Let's read these real quick. At the top, right, Chris? No, let's read this one right here. Okay. Novi 2000. What does Ms. Pratt think about cohabitation agreements? Been through the FL divorce machine. I got 50% kid time sharing and no alimony. Discovery sucked. We will hold that till the end. Guys, leave your questions until the end. That's actually really, Chris, can you please make a note of that one? And then we got Peter Delory, 10 hours. Question: infidelity is a reason divorce happens sometimes. Without trust, the contract is pretty much dead. In your experiences over the years, keep it 100. Who tends to be the cheater more often? That's another good question that we will hold at the end, guys. All questions will be answered at the end. Don't worry. Frank Sonara, $10. Can an ex-spouse call for alimony if you've been together for a total of 5 years but only been legally married for 5 months? Thank you, Ms. Pratt, for being here. That will also be saved. Chris is making a note of all these questions, guys, and we will answer them because this is a very important topic.
And tell a chat $10 and up.
Yeah, $10 and up, guys.
Chats.
Yeah, because we don't want to disrupt the show, because this is, guys, this is more important than getting girls on Instagram. Okay,
it is.
Real talk. Anything else, Chris?
Everyone say the mic is sound good. So
mic sound good.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Okay, it took me a while, but we got them calibrated. So going back, Jen, real fast. So alimony is basically them paying a set amount based on lifestyle and stuff like that.
Good question. So a lot of people think it automatically is just lifestyle, and it's, again, at least in Florida, I can't imagine it's not necessarily that's the case. So usually what we're going to do is we're going to look at the wife's income. Okay. And if it's zero, then it's zero, and we're going to look at the husband's income. And the range in Florida is anywhere from as little as, if you're really, really lucky, 30% of that gross number. That's your alimony payment.
If you're lucky, that much.
Up to 40%.
Oh my God.
But remember, it's not of your income alone; it's of your combined gross income. Now,
yours and hers,
right? Both of y'all.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, you make $100,000, and the girl makes $30,000. Like, yes, you are probably going to pay alimony. I'm not going to BS you, but we're going to try to minimize the exposure. So now we have $130,000 combined gross income, and we're looking at that. We're looking at 30 to 40%, and we can meet down the middle somewhere in the 35% income. Now, alimony is not intended to be a savings component for the wife. In other words, if she makes enough money on her own to fulfill her necessities, right, and not necessarily the lifestyle of the rich and famous necessity, but her regular home, regular lifestyle, and she's pocketing that alimony money to save it, it's not supposed to be intended for a savings component. It's supposed to be for spousal support, to support that former spouse. So, and by the way, depending on how you draft your agreement, like child support, alimony is always modifiable. Okay. Again, depending on how you draft it. So if your income drastically goes down post-divorce, those are those post-judgment issues I mentioned to you. So a judgment is a judgment of dissolution of marriage. So post-judgment is everything that happens after you guys are divorced. If you're somebody that, you know, right now, for example, with COVID, a lot of people got affected with COVID. Yeah. And people were like, I'm going to just stop paying. Both child support, alimony, whatever combination of two they had, they shouldn't do that. At least not in Florida. You should file a petition for modification, explain to the judge why it needs to be modified, and the judge has the ability to modify it based on your evidence, whether it be for a long period of time, temporary period of time, whatever it may be. But don't stop paying, because then you risk getting hit with a motion for contempt, and that can lead to
Wait,
other crap.
can you go to jail? Like, let's say, for example,
Great
right?
question. I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
You had a good job, whatever. COVID hit, you lost it. Now you're on your ass. You're at home. You can't work, and then you can't pay child support. Would you go to jail for that?
Right. So in the United States of America, generally speaking, you do not go to jail for not paying your debt, including child support and alimonies. What you go to jail for is for not following court orders. That's what you would go to jail for, right? So if there is a court order that says you must pay Jennifer Pratt $100 a month in alimony or whatever the number is, and you don't do it, you just ignore it, you don't go back to the court, and that's a big mistake. I see a lot of people do. They and then they try to act like they're friendly. Oh, I talked to her, I called her, I texted her, she said it's cool. Hell to the no. You have a judgment or an order from a judge that has the power to put your booty in jail. Again, that's very extreme.
Mm-hmm.
I'll explain that because I know that's like another myth. I'm going to go to jail if I don't pay child support. You go to jail because you don't answer discovery. You are in contempt of court. So you go to jail for not listening to the judge. But if you file a petition and you say, I cannot afford it, and you show your evidence that you really, and how do you show it? Well, I mean, as an attorney, I'm going to help you prepare for that hearing, but bank statements, you might have testimony, different ways that we show that your income has reduced. Maybe your tax returns. Clearly, if you got divorced and you were making $300K at the divorce, and now last year because of COVID you made 80, that's a big difference in your income, and it should be modifiable.
So alimony is malleable. What about child support though? Can that change based on how much? Okay,
absolutely.
All right.
In fact, I would argue that depending on how. So here's the thing: in Florida, child support is always modifiable.
Okay.
Always. Okay. And we'll talk about what the standard is in a second. Whereas alimony, you got to be careful. If you got a very excellent attorney on the other side, that they might put something that says this is not modifiable in your agreement. So you do have to be careful. And if you're getting a divorce right now, make sure that alimony clause does not say that it is not modifiable. I know, double negative. Ugh. But this is the truth. It cannot say that it's not modifiable.
And this is the divorce paperwork, right? Not the prenuptial stuff.
This is the divorce paperwork, right? The marital settlement agreement, MSA.
Okay.
Yo, just this alone, I ain't never getting married.
Oh man, no.
Okay, so I want to say, like I'm married. I'm happily married, and I know I mentioned this on the last show. We did a prenup, and he's here today in the studio. So shout out to my boo, Dan
Shout
Silver.
out to him.
Guys, don't think. I mean, I know that's like your MO or whatnot, but don't think that just like if you really want to marry and do right or whatever your cultural thing is, don't let this dissuade you. And that's why, you should not just marry some girl you met last week. You should vet her. You should whatever. But I will tell you this: it don't matter how long you vet her. She still could be crazy at the end. And I got divorced. We have a divorce right now. You know what? Let me not say we. Let's just say general. Okay. There is a divorce that my office handled at some period in lifetime where they're getting divorced and they've been married 46 years.
Oh, wow.
Damn. That guy's screwed.
Is he? Yeah, that's.
Oh man, she should get that lady is like Medal of Honor. Like she is cleaning him out.
Oh man,
that's a clean out.
Yeah, I'll pass.
And I'll say this. So this dovetails perfectly into my next question. Obviously, we see what divorce is. We've defined what divorce is: child support, alimony. How can men protect themselves prior to the marriage? Because let's keep it real. Even though we talk about on this podcast all the time, it's a bad bet for you to get married. There's guys out there that want to have children.
Yeah. And
to keep it real, to have a child grow up in the best environment you can, you need a mom and a dad. And I say marriage is a very good way to have that. It's actually one of the few ways I say, if you want to have kids, then maybe get married, but you got to do it safely. How can people navigate that and put themselves in a position where they don't open themselves up to some serious liabilities like we discussed?
Right. So obviously, without a doubt, a prenuptial agreement. And I remember last time I was on your show, we didn't address it, but there was somebody in the comments, and I really wanted to address this because I think it's important. They said something like, Dr. Dre's wife said that she got duressed or what, and she's fighting it. In other words, I want to be very clear. I'm never, like I said from the start, I'm not going to BS you. There is no foolproof way except not to get married.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying I'm not saying that that's the way, but that is the only foolproof way to ever not have to deal with the possible ramifications and consequences of a divorce. With that being said, Dr. Dre's wife is fighting it. I don't know all the specifics of that case, so we're clear. And it is California law, so I'm sure slightly different than Florida. But with that being said, of course, it's like any other contract, guys. I could always argue duress. I could always say that I was under the influence. I could always have an excuse to get out of a contract. That's what attorneys are for. And this is Dr. Dre. I mean, he's worth a lot of money. If I was her, I'd probably try to fight it too if she got a bad deal there. But so we're clear, typically it should be a smooth sailing. Like if that's what the paper says and the person hopefully goes to an ethical attorney that looks at everything, ask the main questions to the girl or the guy, were you under duress? Were you under, and everything is no. Like, look, girl.
This is prior to the marriage, right?
Well, no. Now she's at the divorce
table,
like at the divorce attorney consultation.
Gotcha.
And she says, this is our prenup. I
from 20 years ago, because they got married in like the 90s.
I realize now this is no bueno, right? Especially for those guys who are up and coming and they're getting divorced 10, 15, 20 years later, like a Dr. Dre. That's what happened. They've been married for a long time, is my understanding. Yeah. So, once he got that, what was it, the Beats by Dre deal?
Yeah, made a lot of money.
Hello.
Sponsored
so now she's
by
thinking
Apple.
like, wait, what? And let me tell you, there's a solution to that. We want to talk about before the marriage, prenup. Post-marriage. I know you didn't ask me, but I know we're going there too. Once you're in the marriage, let's say
during, and post. Yep.
Let's say you are that Dr. Dre. Let's say when we got married 10 years ago, you were living it outside of your car, and now you up here on the beautiful view, and you got money, Well, again, and this is also going to be based on how mature and how good your relationship is, but you could also enter into what's called a post-nuptial agreement, which changes. Let's say whether you have a prenup or not, you can always modify those terms. In fact, not to be TMI, but like my husband and I are going to have to modify our prenup because we weren't partners in the same law firm when we started working. He had his job. I had my own law firm. Our lives have changed since we've been married, and we've talked about it openly. Yes, I get it. We're both attorneys, both divorce attorneys. So I guess it's like nothing to us. It's like, hey, by the way, we got to change the prenup because, our situation has changed. But going back to the vetting, if you don't have that kind of relationship, and I'm not here to give relationship advice, but if you don't have that kind of relationship with your lady, is that really who you want to be with? Yeah. That you can't tell her 10 years from now, look, babe, I love you. I want to make sure you're always taken care of, no matter what, especially if you are the mother of my children. But our situation has changed. Either you making a whole lot of more money now. What if she became the Instagram model now and she's making, $100,000 a month?
Well, she won't hesitate to do that prenup renewal.
Exactly. So you during the marriage, you could always enter into either for the first time or modify, if you're already in a prenup, modify those terms, or for the first time do a post-nuptial agreement.
Now, super chats.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do these real quick. Theo Waff, $100 super chat. Holy crap, man!
By the way,
indeed, how do men protect themselves because women enjoy giving pain? What is we just live with her? I think it means what if we just live with her? Theo, to hold that tight, we will answer that at the end because we got, I think, 4 questions now.
Also, Theo donated before the live stream even started $150.
Yo, wow. Theo, thank you so much, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
Theo's a very successful man. We got JR. 97% of alimony goes to. Can you enlarge that real quick, Chris, please? Okay, 97% of alimony goes to gals in states which have it. In Florida, when women began paying men alimony in big numbers, they challenged the laws. Is this not hypocritical because it usually is men getting stiffed? Okay, thank you for that. Yes, as
the attorney.
Yeah, you as the attorney, not personally. What is your opinion? Oh God. Okay.
I can barely see. Too.
Yeah. Okay. What is your opinion on men getting married these days? And would you agree that men are treated harsher than women in the family court? We'll save that one as well. Thank you, William G. Mangiani. Word of advice. This is from Redman 007. Word of advice. Do not get married after we separated. She should not leave and gave false statements for domestic battery and put me in the criminal system and found incident. Wanted $20K to settle for 15 months.
Damn, son.
Sucks, man. Sorry to hear that. Eugene Morgan, $10. What happens if a guy liquidates all assets and spends everything just to make sure she gets none in the divorce?
I love that question.
We will say, okay, we'll say that one as well. Wayne, never needed a divorce attorney, and thank God I never will. Avoid marriage, avoid matter marriage. Yeah, that's one way to prevent it. Okay, Kansas Creative Sports Alliance. In the best interest of the child is a hoax. If your attorney uses that verbiage, you most certainly will lose in CS court. You have a constitutional right to a free relationship with your children. Is I think what he means. Anything else, Chris?
You have more, but if you want to finish on the rest of the questions.
Yeah, we'll just knock it out real quick right now. Okay, Planes in the building. Myron, I respect you as a man, but please stop promoting marriage, even if you want kids. In today's society, there's no point. It's beta and kills a leverage. All you have is man. That's your opinion, bro. But the statistics show that children do best in a 2-parent household, and marriage helps with that. So that's up to you, bro. Al Lamin, $10. What if you video record her signing the prenup, not under duress? Can that video still be used in court? Yes, it can. And CJ, $10. Is it true the prenup can be thrown out of court or non-valid after a certain time? Are divorce rates higher in Colombia? Is there common law in Colombia? Goddamn. If so, how long after cohabitation? We'll save that one as well.
Colombia, man.
And Lev, $10. What if she proposes the prenup and post-nup? Does that eliminate the possibility that she can claim she's under duress? I think that's a quick one. I guess maybe. Yes,
yeah,
no?
I mean, listen, that definitely helps, but regardless, regardless if she still wants to somehow set it aside for some other reason, which again, duress is usually the big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly that helps. Like if you have a text or an email from her saying like, hey babe, this is the attorney I hired, this is the prenup I want, and I'm like, yeah, that certainly will help. Absolutely.
So, okay, anything else, Chris? Are we caught up?
Yeah, 2 more.
Okay, Kid Flash, glad I'm here. In history with you guys. This is amazing info. Shout out to Freshfit fam. Absolutely, guys. We got to diversify. Eugene Morgan, is there anything more badass than 2 married divorce attorneys openly talking about their prenup? Better call Saul. Thank you, Eugene. And guys, Chris is making a note of all these questions. We'll answer them at the end. And we almost got 2,000 live viewers right now.
Boom.
Guys, like the video on your way in, bro, because we don't want to stop because it's very important stuff.
Also, sub to the channel, almost 50K.
Yeah, a lot of you guys are ninja watchers. So sub to the channel. Like the video, push the algorithm so more men can get this message and protect themselves. So we were talking about.
Hold on. I want to add something else. So I figured out a way, right, to kind of avoid getting married. And you tell me if this is good or not, right? Because I already been married, so I'm not going on there again. But my thing is, right, what if I found a girl in Colombia? I have a few. And we're cool, right? And I give her a kid in Colombia. But then I bring the kid back and forth, like, because the laws are different in Colombia. Would me bringing the kid to America every so often, would the same laws apply? Or can I just like back and forth and I won't have to worry about child support and that stuff?
Excellent question. So at least in the state of Florida, in order for the court to have jurisdiction of that child, the child must live in the state of Florida for at least 6 months preceding the petition date. So unless they live here for at least 6 months and the woman should probably live here too, but really it's about the child. So just don't keep them here for more than 6 months.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So we were talking about how man.
And by the way, that's not even just in the country. Sorry, I don't mean to, but even if like she's in New York and you don't want her to start action here in Florida because I don't know, maybe our laws are worse or better than another state, just make sure the child's not here for at least 6 months. Otherwise,
there's a big tip right there.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
So I'll say this. So we were talking about how men can protect themselves before marriage. It seems to be unanimous with the prenuptial agreement. But how often should, and I guess generally speaking, because everyone's different, how often should they be working to update the prenuptial agreement to keep it intact so that it doesn't get challenged later or get thrown out?
Right. When you have big life events, I mean, I don't think it's a moving document. It's not something that you should be like updating every week either. I don't think. A good prenuptial agreement will have a lot of broad clauses that encompasses, all your assets. So it's not like, all of a sudden I bought this. But if you want something specifically in there, like you just bought a mansion, I don't know, in Key West or something, and you want that, like, yeah, you could include
a raise, a purchase of an asset,
exactly.
That you should update the prenuptial agreement with life events.
You could do that. And I know you wanted to ask me, and I don't know about like before marriage, like
we're still
in addition
before
to the prenup. And this I would say go to an asset protection attorney, an attorney that's going to help you protect your assets, because that's another thing that could help too, is if your assets, in fact, my husband and I were talking about it last night, because of a case that we have, whether or not, like, if before we get married, like, let's say I just happen to have a trust. Maybe I'm a trust fund baby. Maybe I'm not, but I'm leveled up and I just have everything in trust. Nothing is in my name because I just don't want the liability, or all my properties are in LLCs. Like, and by the way, that's the way to go. Like, don't ever buy a property in your own name. Like, why open up an LLC, move yourself away, let it be a corporate entity, and one LLC per property, please. Not all 50 of them.
Bang, bang. Another game changer right there. That's what my accountant says as well, guys.
Gems over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say then up, like before you go to get this marriage, just set yourself up properly so that you are protected. Like whoever your beneficiaries are, if you are going to do a trust, then okay, great. Make sure if you really, really want to be protected, at least in Florida, it should be an irrevocable trust, one that you really have little to no control of. And a lot of people don't like that because then you literally lose control of your assets. But the further away you are from your assets, the better you are protected, because that actually means that you really don't own it. The trust owns it. The trust becomes a corporate entity, so to speak, and you are just the beneficiary of it, so you don't really have your hands on it. So there's a couple of things with a good asset protection lawyer or a good CPA that you could also set yourself up if maybe the prenup is not for you or it's not sexy. And also don't think that because you don't have anything today, like, oh, I'm just broke, I'm living in my mama's basement, what am I going to get a prenup for? I always tell people it doesn't matter, because your life can change.
Yep.
Like your life can change. And then once we are married, I'm not going to lie, that might put a little friction that all of a sudden you are dropping this on me. Like, oh, now you leveled up and now all of a sudden you want to post-nup now? Like now you want to put this in writing? So it's give and take.
That's some solid advice. So get the prenuptial, get a risk. What's the name?
Some sort of asset protection.
Asset protection attorney.
If you already have a lot of assets, right? For my high value men, right? You have property. You might want to just make sure that your stuff is properly titled and your beneficiaries are set. Also, and I don't do a lot of this, but we do it at our office. Like a goodwill too can help. Not goodwill the store, a goodwill probate documents as well. Like not probate documents, but like trust and estates, like making sure that like your will is on point, who you want to give things to in case you pass away.
Because that's already been it's set from earlier.
Right, but once you get married, you may need to update. In Florida, without getting too complicated, because it's going to get real boring real quick. There are certain things that you cannot disinherit your wife or your spouse, period, by the way. So vice versa, if your wife dies on you, God forbid. For example, and again, not to bore everybody, but like homestead. You like that's her homestead too. That's your home. It's your home. Both of y'all's castle. You can't say she don't get it in the event that you die. Generally speaking, again, I'm talking general here. You can't disinherit your minor children from the homestead. So you hate Billy because he was a one-off, and you hate the baby mama, so you're gonna disinherit him out of the will. But for the homestead, he or she is gonna still have their interest in that homestead if you pass away.
Can you kind of like not give it to her, but give it to the kids?
Give what?
The house.
You cannot disinherit the spouse
even
from the marital home. That's the only thing that you cannot, per the Florida Constitution. And this makes sense if you think about it, guys. And again, I know this is but it makes sense. Public policy. We don't want to leave widows on the street, and we don't want to leave minor children on the streets.
That makes sense.
That's why, so that's a public policy. But it doesn't mean she gets the vacation home in the Hamptons or whatnot. She gets the homestead where y'all lived.
So, man, this is guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is a lot of crazy value here.
Don't mean she get the whole house. She gets her interest, whatever that may be, up to 50%.
So, question here. So, we talked about how to prepare prior. What about? And we'll get into this right now. We're going to talk about what can guys do during the marriage. There were some questions about cohabitation, everything like that. How guys can kind of, now that they're in their marriage, how can they kind of figure out how to navigate it and not get destroyed? We'll read some of these super chats real quick. Chris, can you pull some of those up?
Give me 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. So we'll just get into the question then. So, so we're married now, right? Maybe I had a prenuptial agreement, or worse yet, I didn't. Maybe we could discuss both scenarios. How can people navigate now that they're married to protect themselves if things are to go astray?
So the good news is that if whatever your prenup says should be what happens in the divorce. It should control, right? But for those people who don't have a prenup, which could be probably the vast majority of people, honestly speaking, I don't know the percentages on it, but I would think most people don't have a prenup versus do. One of the biggest pieces of advice I could give you, and look, again, at least here in Florida, once you start making money, once you're married, it's marital funds. Period. The end. Everything, every dollar you bring it in, you want to title it in your own name, it's still half mine. You want to put it in but there are some things you can do. One thing is try not to commingle as much as possible.
Okay. Share bank accounts as a no-no.
And I hate to use us as an example, boo, but we kind of are like the model.
You guys are the metric of success. Please,
right?
please, whatever you want to share.
So I have my own bank account. He don't have access to it. He don't know what's in there. He don't know how, for all he knows, I got $1 million in there. Well, not before we sign the prenup. Oh, that's really important. With the prenup, my bad. Let's go back real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Full disclosure. That is a way that we will get that prenup set aside. If you don't fully disclose to her what you have on the day that you're about to sign that prenup, or what you think you might be getting very soon. So like a contingent asset, and we have a case like that right now in the office.
damn.
You're under contract on a property, for example, contingent asset.
You about to get $300,000 from that sale, and you knew the day of, but you didn't disclose it on that prenup. Set aside failure to disclose, fraud.
Damn.
Oh man. Hope you guys got your notebooks out.
So
Crazy.
full disclosure, and look, right now we have a case that the people were like, oh, well, we're married, we don't email each other, we don't this, we don't that, we're not that formal. And that's kind of sort of true. Like when's the last time you emailed your girl like something like legit?
Yeah.
Dear Maria, I want you to know she attached. Like, it's not common. So full disclosure. Like, if you think you have 10,000 in the bank, tell her you got 15. And full disclosure, so that can never be set aside on a disclosure issue. But anyway, talking about
so you're married now. Maybe you have a prenup in place. Maybe you don't.
So, right.
How did cohabitation?
We have different bank accounts, and then we have our marital account. That doesn't really mean. I mean, okay, let's pretend we didn't have a prenup. If we don't have a prenup, technically, what's his is mine, and what's mine is mine.
Facts.
So with his is his. I'm sorry. With his is mine. It's like, so that's what I told you at the beginning. Two literally become one. You know, and that's why, like, you marry someone, it's to become one. Try not to commingle, but generally speaking, everything, at least in Florida, is going to be marital. Generally speaking, if you earn it or buy it during the marriage, even like I got people who tell me, and that was one of my myths. Oh, but I got all the cars in my name. Okay, and she has an equitable interest of 50% in all the cars in your name.
Oh man.
Okay.
Let me ask you this though: if right before I actually go ahead and sign the prenup, I give all my money to my mom in her account, and I say, hey, you know what? This is all I got left. Like, am I good or no?
Listen.
Fresh trying to finesse.
Finesse, bro.
Listen, if it's in your mom's name and it's no longer in your control, and your disclosure is that this is what I have in the bank and generally what you have in the bank, I mean, you can make an argument of it. But if she ever finds out that what you really did was that, I mean, I would argue that she could say that you concealed it somehow, some way. It's not a bad plan, but it probably isn't ideal. You should probably just disclose and say you don't. Why do you want to disclose? So that you can say, you know what I got, and by signing this, you know you ain't getting shit.
Exactly.
Of this that's here on this paper. So
when it comes to legal stuff, disclosure, because when you omit things, man, that's when you get in trouble. Perjury, lying, under oath, any of this stuff, man. Like, you always want to. When you try to hide things, it pretty much null and voids any document you had in place. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely. And my husband says it all the time. You don't, right. I was going to say, he says it all the time. People don't get in trouble for the act. I learned this from him. People don't get in trouble from the act. They get in trouble from the cover up.
Facts.
That's where we get in trouble.
Facts.
So like, okay, I cheated, right? Okay, I cheated. It's not like, yes, he might leave me because I cheated, but most men or most people, like, okay, we talk about it, maybe, I guess, I don't know, whatever. It's the cover up that really hurts more than anything. Like, you lied, you changed the name on the phone, whatever. Real quick, at least in Florida, inheritance for all my people that are getting inheritance, that is not marital. That is never marital.
Nice.
Unless you commingle.
Oh.
So if you are set to get an inheritance, properties, monies, jewelry, whatever, do not commingle with anything that has to do with the marriage. That means if you, let's say you inherited $100,000, but now you put it into your marital home to pay down your mortgage. Thank you very much. I own half of that now. Keep it in a separate bank account, segregated, and use it for whatever you need, not the marriage.
But do you still have to disclose that?
Well, I'm talking about inheritance that you get during the marriage.
Oh, during.
Like we're married.
During marriage.
All of a sudden, God forbid, somebody passed away, and like, you
got $1 million,
and you get $1 million. The biggest mistake I see men or women do is that they put the money into their marital account. Well, guess what? That money that was protected is now not protected. It is now marital funds.
Damn.
We got a big super chat here from the Steel Curtain, $100. Unfortunately, I learned the hard way. Being divorce raped twice, lost investments, retirement accounts, and cars. I've rebuilt my financial status, now living the free agent lifestyle. CJ, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, fellas. Stay on your purpose.
Oh, hell no.
That's a lot. Damn, that's a lot of money lost, bro. Yeah, guys. I mean, marriage is a bad bet. Okay, $10. Alimony, what if your video record her the prenup not under duress? Can that video still be used in court? We answered that already. CJ, $10. Is it true the prenup can be thrown out of court or non-valid after a certain time? Are divorce rates higher in Colombia? Is there? Oh, we read that already, Chris.
Oh,
Okay,
all right, this one then.
no, we read already too.
Oh yeah, sure. We did left.
We did that.
Yeah, Kid Flash.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, Kid Flash, glad I'm here in history with you. Nope, we read that one also.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is the co-star with the other one already, Peter.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no. Okay, this one, no, that one's a good one. $20 by Peter Delury. CPA here. She's spitting facts about LLCs, INCs, domestic asset protection trust, irrevocable. A lot of people get LLCs and trust thinking they can be safe from outsiders when the potential biggest threat sleeps next to them.
Damn, son.
Bam. Yeah, thank you for that, Peter Delury. Speaking facts. $50 super chat, Onyx51. And I enjoy the content. I live in Texas, have one young daughter from my ex-wife. She does the bare minimum for our child. I'd like to know, what are the best ways to get full custody of my child? We'll answer that as well. That's an excellent question. Please, Chris, save that one as well. Ariston Edwards, $10. Why is the Florida Constitution protecting women from being on the street, but men have to deal with it, bro?
Damn.
It's everywhere like that,
No,
man.
it's vice versa, guys. If I'm the breadwinner, I can't disinherit you from our home either. Like it's not just for women. It's just any spouse.
It's both.
And if I die, my husband also gets my 50%, his 50% interest or whatever in my home.
It just so happens that it's rare. It's rare that the woman is the breadwinner, but yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Planes in the building, $13. Guys live the free agent lifestyle, no marriage, no cohabitation, no long-term relationships. Stay safe, brothers. Yeah, man.
Boom.
Okay. We got 2,000 live viewers, by the way, guys. Thank you so much. Like the video on your way in. So not mingling funds, anything else people can do to protect themselves? Because cohabitation is a big one that everyone is scared of. And a couple of questions came up about it.
Right.
I mean, obviously, if you're married, you're going to be cohabitating.
Yeah.
But what if you're not married?
Right. And I actually wanted to defer to Dan on this one. I don't think we have cohabitation agreements in Florida. No, it's state specific. So I don't think we have such a thing. In other words, you just live with your baby mama and your baby daddy.
You can have a domestic partnership.
You can have a domestic partner, but an agreement?
Yeah, but it's
It's
not marriage.
very rare. We don't see that.
It's like for
basically.
health insurance.
There's a
Here,
mic.
Chris,
There's a
give
mic
him
there.
Chris, give him your mic.
We don't
There's a
see
mic.
that. We don't, very rarely. But I do know that obviously your audience is not just Florida, so this is probably something that's a lot more common in other states. I don't see it here. I've yet to see my first cohabitation agreement.
Hey,
I'll put it
Jennifer,
like that.
in Florida.
your husband. There is, but this is very rare, and usually it's for health insurance or something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like through Miami-Dade County.
Yeah, I had a boyfriend one time. I wanted to get on his insurance, and we didn't have to do a whole cohabitation agreement, but we did have to like check off some stuff that said like we lived together, that if he died tomorrow, I would get his stuff and he would get my stuff. It was like a simple form that the insurance wanted, just to make sure like you're not just out here giving insurance to anybody. That you actually
Insurance
have
fraud
some
is
sort
big
of,
down here too.
some sort of living arrangements together. So I am familiar with that, but cohabitation agreements are rare in Florida, so I'm not really privy to them,
Okay.
to be honest.
All right. Well, no. I mean, if it's not a thing, then it's not a thing. Okay. We're caught up, Chris.
There you go.
Okay. DMV boss. I thought I called in and told y'all get security. Y'all mentioned the DMs. Now y'all going into divorce court. Let's crowdfund 6ix9ine security. And then Jaws 2003, $20. I had an issue with my ex where she filed a DV injunction in Miami when we had custody battle in Tallahassee. I had an emergency pickup order and Miami gave me issues executing it. How can we deal with issues like that, like this? Okay, save that as well, Chris, please. And then the H Nomad $20 will paying a housewife a fixed salary to protect the man during divorce. Freshnfit Fire Podcast, best podcast. We are the #1 dating podcast in Miami and
That's
the
a good
#1
one.
dating podcast.
That's an excellent question.
We'll save that one too, Chris.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so we talked about what people can do. Anything else you could think of during the marriage that people can do to protect themselves?
I mean, besides the
Not
post-nuptial
commingling
agreement,
funds.
try not to commingle the funds. For yourself, if she's thinking about divorce.
What if you own a business and because you spoke about this last time and I thought this was a fantastic point I want to highlight to the people. What if you own a business and she works for you? Or she doesn't work? How should from that discussion we had before?
Right. So if she's just an employee, she's just an employee. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make, or let's say men make, right? Because we're talking to men right now, so not to anybody makes, is that we give things to our spouse that we have no legal obligation to give. So oftentimes I see people, they own their home. Like, let's say you own this home prior to getting married with me, and then I'm not on title, and I'm never going to be on title. And this should not be this should be a non-marital asset. So all your assets prior, whether you have a prenup or not, should be non-marital. What happens is once we get married, we turn it into marital because of the way we use it, right? More on that later. But the point is, I see people all the time, they add their spouse to the title of their properties that they had purchased prior to the marriage, where I may have had a good argument to tell the court, this is not marital asset. It should not be put into the pot of the divorce. But then you did that. Why? Oh, because I love her. I want to show her I love her.
Oh, man.
Damn.
Stupid.
So,
and I see men and women do that. And then with the business, same thing. I see men and women. So this is not towards any gender at all. Just I see people like they open a business and like, oh, I'm going to give you some equitable stake in it. I'm going to give like you guys have this podcast and then you get married and you're like, oh, baby, I'm going to let you be 20% owner. Like, unless you're doing that because you trust her like hell and you've got a bunch of creditor issues. Well, we do that too. You're getting sued like a MO, like a lot. And then your girl, you put things in her name to avoid the creditors, because again, only in Florida. But like if you and me are married, but you owe money, it doesn't mean I owe it too, unless we both went in on that debt together. Does that make sense? So one of the ways people, what they do when they're married is, let's say you're racking up a lot of debt for whatever reason, they're coming after you. You start putting things in your wife's name so that your creditors can't get what you're earning. Like, for example, let's say you got a check from this podcast. You would say, hey, don't put it in my name, put it in my wife's name. Everything's going in her name, in her name, in her name. You buy something, it's in her name. You open a business, you give her stake, you give her on paper because you trust her. But that is very tricky. It has backfired. We have a client right now where there's about 40 million on the line now because of that same thing, because they trusted their wife. They put everything in the wife's name, and boom, she hit him with the divorce. Oh no. And at the time of the divorce, everything is under her name because he was trying to avoid creditors.
Oh man.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So
well, again, yes and no, because in a way, when he got sued and there were judgments being executed against him, as you may know what that's all about, you coming in, taking everything, taking it to, selling it at a sheriff's sale or whatever. If everything was under Maria's name or Jose or Jennifer's name, then potentially it didn't get taken because the debt is only against the husband. So I see why people do it. To me, to this day, I truly believe, but I could see how your wife will have a problem with this, because I would put everything in your mama's name.
There you go.
Boom. There you go. Problem solved.
Okay.
Right,
so those are some ways.
Already? No.
What was that, Chris?
Super chats. Is it already or no?
Yeah. Ralphie, since child support is based on percentage of income rather than the cost of living for child, wouldn't you call that extortion?
Well, it's actually related, right? Because if you make $100,000, your child should live $100,000 life. Should not get $50 a month. So both things are interrelated, guys. I mean, it's interrelated, the lifestyle of the child to your income. It's just to say that if you guys are making $20,000 a year, both of you, so it's combined 40. Yes, the child support is not going to be $3,000. It's just not, because you don't live that lifestyle with that kind of income. Yep. But if you're making $2-3 million, it's relevant that the child support will be in line with that, because what we don't want is, we don't want a child that is at mom's house living in the gutter in a bad neighborhood, just the house is falling apart, but then he goes to dad's house and it's a multi-million-dollar house on a golf villa. How's that right either for your child? And then I hear it all the time, and I get it. Oh, that's her fault. Yeah. Why she didn't level up? Like, she could, yeah. Well, then that's what the child support and alimony is supposed to be for. So that it's not to say that both of you have to live in the villa mansion on the golf course, but certainly your child should not be during the week, damn near gutter water, leaks of water in his shower. And then at your house, he's got a butler. Like, how is that right?
Yeah. Okay. So, we talked about, we talked about during,
we have more already.
Okay. How to Don DeMarco. Thank you very much. Face towards enemy $10. Please, gentlemen, don't pay off her student loans no matter what. Yeah, don't do that.
Ooh,
let's continue on.
I can tell you how you're going to end up paying her student loans.
Oh, we'll leave it for the end, because we still got some stuff to go through.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we talked about how guys can mitigate the damage during. Let's talk about after. She serves you with the divorce paperwork. It might be a little too late right now, but what can guys do to protect themselves?
It most certainly is, and that's where you're gonna do the cover up, right? And that's where you're gonna get. But if she has a decent enough attorney, we're probably gonna catch your cover up, and that is going to really hurt you because in the American system, court system, it's all about credibility, right?
Yes.
And if I can make you look like a liar, and the way, I mean, some of these family attorneys, man, you would think that the case says their name, like you would think it's them that's getting divorced. Like they get so, like they take it so personal. Like I've had to call family attorneys and been like, hey, you know, it's not you and me getting divorced, right? Like you are like taking this to a whole nother level. You are like writing me emails at midnight. Like you literally breathing this case and living this case. Like slow down. Like we're going to do the best for your client, but tampoco, like relax. But with that being said, it's important that once you get hit with that, you do measure yourself accordingly. You listen to your attorney. You seek legal advice. I cannot tell you how many people have come to us because they thought that they were smarter than us or whatever, and they wanted to defend. And you have every right to
represent yourself.
Represent yourself, but there's a saying: it's only a fool who represents himself.
Facts.
Okay, not even me. If I got no wood around here, I wouldn't even represent myself. Like you hire someone to represent you, to have that attorney-client privilege, which to be able to communicate your what you did wrong, what you did good, etc. So you do want to seek legal advice immediately. Don't try to do this on your own, especially if she already has an attorney. Like she, don't go up. So can't even tell you guys. They go to trial by themselves and then they come back and they're like, oh, the judge didn't like me. It's all because I'm a man. I'm like, well, you had a great case, but you didn't present your evidence correctly. You didn't mark your exhibits. You didn't lay the foundation. You don't know the rules of evidence. You don't know what hearsay is. You didn't object to the proper. I mean, hello, that's my job. I don't expect you to know that. You're going to feed me the facts and I'm going to present the case. And what the last thing you want to be in a situation where you got one of these vulture attorneys, super aggressive attorneys that are going to say, they're out there, I love y'all, but you know who I'm talking about, who are going to say things like, and as soon as he was served, he tried to deprive the wife and the children of their lifestyle by, transferring $300,000 to his sister. And he did this with obvious intentions to defraud the court, Your Honor. I'm the judge. I'm like,
yeah, and then
like,
that's when the defendant knows.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
So definitely, if you're hit with a divorce, seek legal counsel immediately. Don't try to sleep on it. Don't try to. And then everybody I know is very interested in the price. Like, yes, the money, of course. You could certainly, yes, it's gonna cost money. And I hear that there are legal insurances out there. I don't know how good they are, but that might be something you want to look into, I guess, if you're really that concerned with the pricing. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, divorce, if y'all are fighting, the only people that tend to really, really gain is the attorneys.
Guys, by the way, this is gold because you're getting free non-legal advice from her within this hour. This is priceless, guys. So take this advice.
Yeah, this is great stuff.
Right.
So
this is for how to do it. There we go. And there's more chats if you want to read it or hold for later.
Are they questions?
They're questions, so we have to do it at the end if you want to.
Okay, I'm gonna read them real quick, and then we're gonna go to the common misconceptions. So okay, alimony, $10. If the child is supposed to live the good high life based on the man's income, why not give the child to the man then? Good question. We will answer that.
Question.
Save that one. Adil, Javat, and guys, after we do the common misconceptions with some of your questions at Word, these common misconceptions, we will go ahead and do the Q&A and get you guys' questions answered. Okay, Adil, Javat, $10. But remember, it's not legal advice. Can you buy a home and take on debt before marriage and use Marshall funds to pay the mortgage? Similar thing can be done for investment purposes too. No. Good question. The steel curtain, $10. Question, counselor, how hard would it be to have the family court start requiring itemization of child support? Can you outline what those steps / changes would be?
Vote.
Good question.
Vote.
Yeah, there you go.
Vote.
There's your answer to that.
Legislators that make the law. So vote people in that think like us, that think that child support should be itemized.
There you go. Cool still, $10. Would men be protected from child support / custody issues if they only marry women who have a similar income and don't depend on them financially? Excellent question. We're going to answer that then. Bitcoin motorist. There's no evidence that children who live under 2 different incomes do poorly. U.S. is one of the few countries where child support is based on income instead of child rearing expenses. Okay. Cook & Co., $10. New subscriber here. Will this stay on YouTube or be Patreon exclusive? By the way, everyone hit the like button and stop ninja watching. Keep up the great work, Myron and Fresh. And don't forget about Chris. No, this is absolutely staying up because this is very important information. And if you guys want to get a hold of Attorney Jennifer Pratt, you guys can. Her contact info is below.
Yep.
And are we caught up, Chris?
Yeah, we're caught up.
Okay, so Jen, can you take us through some of the common misconceptions people have? They probably come into your office and they have as far as when it comes to divorce and alimony and everything else like that. Family
So,
court.
one of the things we didn't talk about, but I think is also equally relevant in addition to divorce is just baby mama, baby daddy type issues, which those are called paternity issues. So I can start with something to do with divorce. Well, all right, so I already mentioned that, keeping your assets separate does not necessarily mean that at the time of the divorce, you can say this is mine, this is hers, and we're separate. Once you get married, literally to become one. Okay, a common misconception or myth, as I call it, about marriage, at least in Florida, there are some at-fault states, but Florida is a no-fault state, which means that infidelity, generally speaking, is not relevant. I have a lot of people that come in and say, well, she cheated on me with my brother, or whatever. I mean, I've heard it all, and whether the judge is going to care about that, and not necessarily, it's not really relevant, except in some certain situations. And in fact, when I was doing some research on this with my husband, we found that it's hidden in the statute, but we've never seen a judge rule this way. But actually, in Florida, in determining alimony, infidelity is a factor that we can, that for purposes of calculating and paying the alimony. We've never seen it. So don't hold our word to it. Generally speaking, then infidelity, no, doesn't really matter unless there is dissipation of assets in that infidelity. In other words, you and I are married and you go to Costa Rica and you take her to the penthouse presidential suite and you drop $10,000 on a weekend. That's a problem. If I can show that you use that money, those 10,000 marital funds, on this chick or a guy, whatever, hey, it happens, right? Whatever, no judgment here.
If it's the guy, he probably won't be going through this, but that's a whole nother thing.
We've had cases like that too, where the people are divorcing. It's because he ended up being gay and is not with a man.
Oh,
Actually, I know a guy, right? And they're married. He's married to this chick for like 20 years. And what he would do is he would take his credit card, right? And he would go fly out or chicks or something like that. And he would go on vacation with a chick, right? And he's still married. But what happened was, I think he left one of his statements in the car glove box, and his wife found it. At that moment, he knew.
Stupid.
Yeah, he was stupid. So stuff like that. Yeah, and then they got divorced, and that went against him because she had evidence, his credit card statement. Hey, he's
making this much,
all that stuff. So yeah, you're right.
That's the first thing when I'm representing a woman that is the low income bearer, and I'm talking about really she doesn't work, or she's very hourly wage, like under $20 an hour. Just she's just living. She just works to keep busy almost, right? Let's keep it real. I'm a woman. I love women. I'm borderline feminist, but I'm also a realist, and I realize I it doesn't work thinking like that all the time. So, but with that being said, that's one of the first things that we're going to do. We're going to look at all those bank statements. We're entitled to the last 3 months automatically, the last 3 months of checking and 12 months of savings, and all your credit card statements as well. So I'm not here to help you perpetrate any fraud on your marriage with your current spouse. But one of the best ways, so here's another gem. Listen up, gentlemen. One of the best ways to get away with these things and not get caught and not end up in a dissipation situation is either use someone else's credit card that your spouse has no idea you're using. Like maybe your ladies, use hers. If she doesn't know who she is, obviously if she knows who she is, we could subpoena her and we could get her stuff too. So be careful.
Damn, son.
Or cash. Cash is king. It's very hard to trace.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Cash is king. Yep. You want to do your dirty work? Pull the cash. Ain't gonna be no record of that. It's gonna be, yes, I'm gonna see that you pulled out $5,000, and I'm gonna ask you in that deposition, what'd you do with that $5,000? And I'm gonna keep asking you. I'm gonna ask you again, and I'm gonna try to ask you 7 different ways what you did with those $5,000 that you withdrew. But at the end of the day, if I don't have, it's not like we have a statement where like literally I was representing a woman and it's like, I was like, something Costa Rica. And I went and it was a strip club in Costa Rica. I was like, got him.
Yeah, bam.
Boom. And then his girlfriend was from Costa Rica. So I was like, yo, this is what
She
he was
knew
doing.
exactly.
When he was flying to Costa Rica, he was telling you
no.
it was for work and it was really to be with homegirl. So now every trip that we see here is dissipation. I ended up on my own with that because sometimes you do need a forensic accountant.
Yep.
Somebody, and that's going to cost you money. But that, if you're really trying to get to the bottom of things, those professionals are really good too. Me on my own, I was able to find at least 20, 30,000 that clearly he dissipated in the marriage.
You go.
And what happens then, guys, is that comes back into the marital pot and she gets 50% of that.
See what I'm thinking? I'm gonna go the Tony Soprano route. I'm gonna go in the backyard, dig a hole, put my money in there. That way it's safe.
And I want to say this too, because she mentioned the deposition. Guys, do not lie at a deposition. You're under oath. If you don't, you just say, I don't recall. Do not lie. You know what I'm saying? You at a deposition, they put you under oath, and you're subject to perjury or false statements, whatever it is. So, yeah, real quick. Were you gonna say anything else, Jen? Yeah.
Do not recall.
Yeah.
Do not lie. Again, remember, everything is about credibility in court. The minute they get you even slightly on a lie, both ways, by the way, her too. Like you could drag her through the mud too if you catch her in lies. You're gonna milk that lie, even if that lie isn't even cold-heartedly relevant at the moment. But again, it's all about credibility.
All right, real quick, P. Willie, $20 super chat. Just a small donation for the life-saving service she's providing. Absolutely, and she'll be back, guys. Don't worry. Major League's $10. Can we get an alimony/child support debit card where it is used for the child purposes, where it is age tailored and expenses that she makes? The card will automatically disallowed. We'll save that for the end. What else? Bite the Bait, $10. Hey, real talk, the late shows with the baddies are fire, but we need more shows like this. To be honest, pointless getting baddies if we can't protect our hard work. This is literally saving lives. Bless, absolutely. Thank you so much for that support, man. Eugene Morgan, $10. Can I cohabitate with a girl and put her under contract to be a surrogate mom to avoid child support? We'll answer that next. Okay. Strife XL, $20. This information is definitely needed. Writing in my notebook now. Shout out to Freshnfit podcast. We got you guys. Don't worry about it. 2,300 live viewers, by the way. Stupid. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say you guys are stupid. Like the video, guys, please. Comment and subscribe and sub to the channel because a lot of you guys are ninja watchers and help this get pushed in the algorithm because, bro, we're the #1 podcast in Miami, #1 dating podcast in the world. It's pretty much, it's our throne now. So help us move this content to other people. What else? Edward, Redman 007, $10. I tried mutual attorney. It was hell hope. Had to hire a pit bull of attorney on my side. Vet attorneys, period. Okay. Yep, absolutely. Edward Davis, $10. Is it easy to prove alienation of affection? We'll answer that as well. Chris is sending me these things on Telegram. Jen, did you have anything else you want to hit with misconception before we go into Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we haven't talked about is the people who are not married, the paternity. And I don't know if you want to just keep that for a whole nother show. In other words, people that are just a baby mama, baby daddy situation.
We could go over it real quick and then.
All right, so I'll just go quickly. But like one that is related to marriage is, for example, if your wife does not work during the marriage, that you must pay her alimony just because she didn't work during the marriage. First of all, again, here in Florida, it's all based on the number of years and whether or not she really does have that need and whether you have the ability as well. Okay, so it's need and ability, and then whether or not she really, has that need and you have that ability. And so just because she didn't work, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to pay alimony. It's very likely. But one of the things I will say, especially for high value men that have a lot to lose and don't want to end up, paying years and years and years and years of alimony, is that that's why you need professionals. That's why you need an attorney. And one of the things that we do, especially for high value cases, so this is not like, again, blue collar, run of the mill type divorces, which I love too, and those get done every day in our office too. So we're clear. We would hire something that's called a vocational expert, for example. Oh yeah, you can't work?
Yeah.
Oh, but you went to college, huh? Hold up. Why can't you work? You don't got legs? You don't got arms? What happened? Why? So you have her be evaluated by a vocational expert to see in exactly what kind of job she can have. I don't care that you ain't ever done it before. What can you do now once we divorce? And perhaps that could make the difference between having to get hit with alimony, like depending on the length of the marriage, that's durational or permanent in nature. Woo, run. Versus something like, like a bridge the gap or something where you're just gonna give her a little bit while she maybe goes back to school. A lot of women, let's keep it real, right? They get pregnant. Maybe they were in school. Maybe you met her in college, but then she got pregnant or life happened or whatnot, and she stopped going to school, for example. And you were cool with it because she was taking care of the floor. She was raising the kids. Your house looks clean. It's beautiful. You have a meal every night, whatever. But then instead of paying her for the next, 10, 20 years or however long, and we'll talk about that too, if you can get her properly evaluated to show that she is able to work, that she does have ability to work, then you can hopefully minimize your exposure and say like, okay, I'm going to pay alimony for 2 years versus X number of years. In Florida, by the way, alimony should never be more than the length of the marriage. That's the worst case. That's the worst case in court. But for permanent, we'll talk about that in a second. But usually on average, it's about half the length of the marriage. So you guys can, so really, if you know by year 3, this isn't working out, dump her. Stop trying to save this marriage. The longer you go, the longer it is. And then with that being said too, that saying cheaper to keep her is 100% real. There are some cases where you may want to consider, and I know this sounds horrible, and please ladies, don't at me, don't be mad at me. I got love for y'all, but I'm here for the dudes tonight. And you might want to wait till the kids are 18. Every case is different. You might want to wait till there's less stuff going on and it's maybe just you. And look, I've got I have a client now. I won't say if it's a man or a woman. We've been planning their divorce for the last 2 years.
Okay.
They have they married their high school sweetheart. They have kids. The kids are already growing up. Like the child support would be there, but they're older. They're like 16, 17. They're growing up, the kids, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And this person got married with a high school sweetheart, didn't have anything at the time, didn't do a prenup. Why would they? They were in high school or whatever.
Man.
Stupid.
And now this individual has amassed a multi-million-dollar empire. And the spouse actually works for the empire.
Oh, damn.
Which is fine, except that means they know the books. So they know what goes in. They know what it's really there.
She knows what he's really worth.
Yeah. But with that being said, we're setting it up, and also it's about maturity. Like he's having these conversations with his wife too. Like, hey, look, that $1 million building I'm buying next year, like I need you to sign something that if we get divorced, this isn't going to be yours. Like,
and that goes back to what we were talking about before, updating the prenuptial agreement with big asset purchases or life changes where your income changes.
Yeah. Can a guy park his money in a whole life insurance policy to avoid it being like part of the money to be looked at?
Now, actually, life insurance is actually one of the things that we can equitably distribute at the time of a divorce. So that's a no. 401ks, life insurance, pensions. Could go on. Obviously bank accounts.
Gotcha.
So I wouldn't suggest that. If we can find it, she's gonna be, she'll probably be in time. And by the way, there's also the misconception, the cleaning out, like, she's gonna clean me out. Well, first of all, in Florida, it's an equitable state, so we start at 50-50. We start at 50-50, but that doesn't mean we end at 50-50. It doesn't mean like necessarily I'm going to always get 50-50. There are equitable factors that get factored. I know that was a double, but you know what I mean? Like there are things that get factored in to determine that. But generally speaking, it will be 50-50, generally speaking.
Okay.
So guys, super chats and then questions.
Yeah. So I'll read the super chats and then we will get to the Q&As. Chris has been sending them to me, guys, and there's a lot of fantastic questions here. Yep. So, okay. Corey Gainey, $20. Thanks for helping me never get married. Had to support the fire content. Hey, man.
My man.
You're welcome, dude. El Maestro, $20 super sticker. Because here's the thing, guys. If you are going to get married, at least you're educated now. You can do it correctly and not let a woman, to twist your arm. Marry me now. Yeah. And you're like, oh. So El Maestro, $20 super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. CJ, $10. Do the court/lawyers have the right to see bank statements from offshore banks? Good question. We're going to answer that. Anything else, Chris?
No, we're good.
Caught up? Okay, cool. So we're going to start anything else, Jen, before we go into Q&A?
So, okay, one thing that came up a lot and that I think we really need to talk about because it is used as a weapon and particularly against men. And if I'm talking to men right now, I want you all to be knowledgeable on this, is domestic violence.
Oh,
domestic violence. Like for real, listen closely because this is a weapon that is used often. And I'm going to tell you guys the truth right now. There are attorneys, I'm going to look you right in the eye and tell you this. It ain't me. It ain't my husband. Not us. We don't do this. This is shady. We don't do this. We don't need to do this because I'm that confident in our skills. Every case is different. I'm not going to win every case. There's no guarantees, but I don't need to do this is my point. But I know that there's attorneys that do this. And what it is that they convince their female clients that the husband has somehow caused domestic violence against them and or their children. And they do this on purpose at the beginning of the divorce, because in Florida, at least, the minute you get hit with even a temporary, that means that like you haven't even been to court. This is an ex parte, meaning, you know, without your knowledge, you're not even served, you're not even noticed about this divorce. I'm sorry, about this domestic violence. There is always a clause that immediately you get exclusive use and possession of the marital home. So it is the number one way to get you out the house immediately. Okay.
Damn.
And I've heard from many people, don't leave the marital home during a divorce.
I wouldn't abandon the marital home as much as I can. The kids, what about the kids? Go ahead.
100% time sharing.
Oh, right. So
let's talk. Okay. Did you want to talk on the mic on that one? Because that was a really good tip. Christian, can you handle the mic real fast?
Domestic violence it's used, and you know what? Even as a woman, I don't care. Like when a woman tries to go that route with me in my consultations, I cut her off quick. I'm not having none of that. First of all, I'm not going to file nothing frivolous. Like, I want to see bruises. Like, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see bruises. Like, show me the picture. Like, really, he hit you? Because you're not going to use me as a tool to get this. Go ahead, Dan. Dan the man.
So, the court's going to kick you out of your house and give the wife exclusive use of possession of the home and 100% time sharing, so you can't see your kid until you go to court.
Damn.
Which could be in some
weaponized
cases,
domestic violence.
And by the way,
this does not mean if they got like arrested or anything. Like there doesn't even have to be a police record for her to do this.
Right. Exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly. So another misconception that DV means you get arrested. No, I can file DV right now on you. I can go down to the courthouse, civil courturthouse, and say that you hit me, and automatically there's a stay away order. Now, eventually,
lower threshold as well. Preponderance of the evidence in civil court.
51%. It is right. It is lower. It's way lower because the criminal is beyond a reasonable doubt, which is almost like 99%.
Yeah,
whereas civil
way
is
higher.
just 51%. But what happens is if your story is good enough, and let's be real. Bees be lying, right?
Yeah, facts.
Lying,
yeah.
Okay? People be lying. Just like men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that being said, like I could go down literally to the civil court and be like, I was in Freshandfit's podcast and he hit me, and and so what happens is I will likely, if my story is written good enough, I will likely get that immediate ex parte injunction saying you know that I take exclusive. We're gonna take your weapons. We take your weapons if you have any weapons, you know. So and then I get exclusive use and exclusive time sharing with the child, which will inevitably affect your child support because the less amount of time sharing that you have overnight, not just dinner time, but overnight, the child is spending nights with you. Your child support is going to be affected.
That's the scary part. It's ex parte.
So, what about drugs? Drug use?
And I'm happy to, but just real quick, this is a very powerful tool. Okay, with domestic violence issues. Okay, you will open it up. And you will tell her, we are in our home. I am recording you, and you are consenting by the fact that you're here in my house. And she might say, I'm not consenting. And then in that case, technically, you are committing a felony in Florida by recording anybody that's not giving you their consent.
Florida's a two-party state, right?
It's a two-party state.
We're recording, yep. With anything, public or not, right? Two-party?
However,
I had a debate with an idiot about this. So
I am not here to encourage anybody to commit any crimes, right? And that is a felony, again, whether it's just recording a phone call or recording on video without their consent. However, again, off the record, I would err on the side of caution, and I'd rather have the ability to at least tell the judge I have some kind, whether it's admissible or not. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Let them fight the suppression hearing.
Yeah, I mean, you're really from criminal.
No comment.
But okay. Yeah. So protect yourself. Videotape, document. If and by the way, one thing really important. If you are the one being abused, like that's another misconception that it's only men that can abuse the woman. That is such a lie. Like women can be abusive too.
Yeah.
Women can beat you up too. And we'll hit you, we'll bite you, we'll fight you. And people say, oh, I'm not going to call the police because then I'm like a punk.
Yeah, facts. Scared.
What?
Yeah. No, you need to call the police.
Stupid. I mean, and look, I'm not saying that in every context call the police. Like that's the mother of your children. You're gonna affect your child. You're gonna affect her. If she's got immigration issues, you're gonna really affect her. I mean, like there's an array of things. But it's like if she's quick to call the cops on you, like you gotta reciprocate fire with fire. You know what I mean? With that being said, if you are arrested or hit with any domestic violence, whether it's civil or criminal in nature, or both, because you could get hit with both.
Yeah.
The cops could come out, arrest you, and she still puts the civil injunction on you as well.
Bam.
So now you got 2 stay away orders, right? And that's the one that gets you exclusive use of the house, time sharing, Shut your mouth. Don't talk. Don't give a statement. People think that because they're innocent, they should talk. That is the biggest mistake you can make. Lawyer up and let me talk for you. Let your lawyer talk for you.
Yep.
Don't you be the one, because no matter what you say, if you have a good enough opponent on the other side, they're going to somehow spin whatever you just said. I didn't hit her. I just pushed her. And, whatever, right?
No.
And, so you pushed her.
Yeah.
How hard did you push her? You often push her? So you're an abuser. You're a pusher, huh?
Oh my God.
I should have been a prosecutor.
Guys, we don't advocate hitting women at all, so don't ever,
right.
ever.
And actually that was one of my things that I wanted to say too, that while I do not condone any violence both ways, men or women, because again, women be crazy too, and they will hit you too. We've seen it. And you know what? Side note, I think it's really messed up that when that does happen, it's sort of like comedic, like we think it's funny.
Yeah.
We think it's like ha ha ha.
Yeah, it is laughed at.
Stop laughing at it. Stop making it funny, because we're normalizing it. And then we're thinking, like, as women, like, oh, who cares? I hit him, so what? And then it's always like, oh, well, then if you call the police, or you're a punk, or you're gay, or you're this, or you're that. What? Stop normalizing that. Like, you need to give yourself your respect as a man and as a woman, as people. None of us. Like, number one rule you learned in kindergarten: keep your hands to yourself. Dog. Like, don't touch me, don't hit me, don't nothing unless it's consensual. With that being said, though, and again, big caveat: I do not condone any violence. It is a misconception to think that because you were hit with that you don't get to see your children. Okay, so let me give you an example. Unless the child was involved in the domestic violence, you can still seek your time sharing with your child. Okay, you can still, like, don't think that because there's a DV action, domestic violence, like that's it, I don't get to see my kids and that's it. No, get your kids. And even if we have to start you off with every other weekend or like one night a week or whatever, but we'll rehabilitate you to get you back to have your children, hopefully, ideally, at least 50-50.
Yeah.
Which is everybody's objective.
Which will also help you on the child support side as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we will never admit that under oath, and we will never say that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that. And by the way, that's the first thing all the female attorneys say. Your Honor, he's only here today seeking time sharing because Miss Parker here filed an action for child support. So that's the only reason he's here today. And like, judges are used to hearing that already.
Yeah,
they know, because what happens is, like, a lot of, and especially in the paternity actions, that when people are not married, but they have a child together, they may be cool for like the first 6-7 years of the kid's life, right? And then all of a sudden something happens, the kid's like 9. And then she hits him with the child support, let's say, right?
Damn.
Something happens. And then now for the first time, he is now seeking paternity rights, which is, again, that could be a whole nother show. It's nothing to do with divorce. It's different. It's paternity. It's for people who didn't get married. For all you guys that don't want to get married, guess what? I still got a way to get you paternity.
We're going to have to do another episode on paternity.
Put a sperm in her and you'll see.
Wrap it up.
So the bottom line is that, yes, even then in those paternity actions, you want to be very careful as well. Not just in the marriage context, but don't think that because you got hit with a DV action that you don't get to see your kids. Not necessarily true, unless you were like punching her while she was holding the baby, and you got a problem.
All right. And anything else that you want to hit before doing the question?
Go ahead.
Question
I'm ready
answer?
for the questions.
All right, guys.
I can answer them.
Quick transition. This episode was brought to you by Tiege Hanley. So if you don't want to be stressed out when you're in divorce court with wrinkles all over your face, you got to take care of your skin, baby.
And also, fellas, if you want your wife or your girlfriend to see you in a good light, make sure you're using Tiege Hanley to make sure your skin is smooth and clean. So if you do get hit by her, it slides off of you right away. But yeah, guys, we have some serums here. We have the face wash. I use this daily. This is really good because, trust me, I'm black and I get really oily. So this is pretty good in the morning as well. We have AM and PM. And also we have the serum for the scrub. So use this twice a week. You want to use it in the shower as well as outside the shower.
Yep.
But it does wonders for you. So
it's exfoliator. And here's the thing too, man. Also, Tease, they give you like a card because I'm like, not good with skincare. And they tell you exactly what order. Face wash, scrub twice per week, then serum, then, eye cream, then moisturizer, and they give you AM and a PM, assuming you get the level 3. Which is what I use, guys. I like the level 3. It gives you everything that you need with the serum, anti-aging eye cream, and the PM moisturizer and the AM, which has some SPF in it. So,
guys, basically, this is skincare That's uncomplicated for men, so it's pretty good.
They simplify it, guys. They literally give you a card that tells you everything to do.
Yeah.
And since Tiege is sponsoring today's episode, they're hooking you up with a great deal. Just go to Tiege.com Tiege.com/Freshandfit or click the link in the description, guys, at the top to get a free toiletry bag with your first box. Get started today for just $25. Sound good?
Boom.
Get in there, guys, so that when you're in divorce court, you look great. So anyway, transitioning back. So we're going to open it up for Q&A here, guys. So I have...
Martin, her first, so let's read the ones that we didn't answer first.
Okay. RP Mike, $10. Marriage is referred to as an institution for a specific reason because in both cases you have to be committed to enter, also meaning you have to be out of your damn mind. Shout out to Fresh and Fit. Thank you. Tricky Trini, $10. Who usually pays the lawyer fees? Don't worry, we'll get to that. Anything? Actually, no, you pay them, bro. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Redman 007. She did this to me. Must leave. Okay. And then Sean Biscayne. This happened to my cousin who lives in Jupiter, Florida. His wife cheated on him. Then a few months later filed for divorce and filed a charge of domestic violence. And he pays child support even though she made more money. Oh,
Damn, man.
Holy crap. And then $10 Wes E. What about crypto assets? Do you have to split these in a divorce or cohabitation situation? Can this be a way to keep funds separate, especially they were there before and or never used commingled funds? We'll talk about that as well. We talked about that earlier. So, okay, we're going to get into the Q&A portion here. I got a bunch of them, and we'll go through these fairly quickly, guys, because there's a lot of questions.
We'll do a fire round.
Fire round, because Jen has people's lives to save, so she's got to get out of here soon. Novi 2000 said, what does Ms. Pratt think about cohabitation agreements? Been through the Florida divorce machine. I got 50% kid time sharing and no alimony. Discovery sucked. Thanks.
Well, let me tell. Well, again, I mentioned it earlier. I'm not
You're not
familiar
in Florida,
with cohabitation agreements. I've barely seen them, if at all. However, if you got 50% time sharing and no alimony, you did pretty good. You didn't talk about equitable distribution, so I don't know if you lost half your 401k, this, that, and the third. One big advice I will give men. Please listen up. If you are, if you got your timeshare, you got 50-50 with your kids, exercise it. Because one of the ways I'm going to come back to court and take that 50-50 away from you and raise your child support is when you don't exercise it. You lose it. You don't use it, you lose it. So in other words, I got a lot of men that go, I got 50%, but then life comes up, or they got a new girlfriend, or they got a new job, or they got this. Don't, one or twice, anybody can miss a date or two. Yes, that's normal. The court doesn't expect every single weekend that it said you had to be there, But now you haven't seen your kid in 6 weeks, or it's sporadic, or you're just on your own terms changing. The girl can go back to court. That is considered, it's actually in the statute that you basically have given up that I guess entitlement or that privilege, and it can be a basis for modification, which will inevitably bring up your child support.
Nice. Peter Delory, question: infidelity is a reason divorce happens sometimes without trust. The contract is pretty much dead. In your experiences over the years, keep it 100. Who tends to be cheat more, men or women? I guess.
So in the cases I've had, it has been men that have cheated more than the women. However, what I think is that women are just not sincere. They don't admit it.
Yeah, and they're just not as stupid and get caught like guys do. So okay, Frank Scenario, can an ex-spouse call for alimony if you've been together for a total of 5 years but only been legally married for 5 months? Thank you, Ms. Pratt, for being here.
Thank you very much. And so we just had a case in our office where we represented the gentleman, and he signed a prenup that was the worst prenup. I don't even know how he signed that. It was the worst thing ever. And he was represented by counsel. We tried to see if we could set it aside, but we were like,
you
signed this? And actually in the prenup, based on as soon as they got married, she was entitled to money. Forget about if 10 years or 20 years. So literally 3 months later, she filed for divorce, and now she's entitled to
100% incentivized.
Damn.
It's just crazy to me. So with that being said, alimony is based, generally speaking, if there's no prenup, it is based on the time length of the marriage. So if you have a 5 months marriage, think about what I said earlier. At most, you're going to get the length of the marriage. So she's going to be entitled to 5 months at most of alimony, or at best half. So 2.5 months. And really, with a 5 month marriage, there has to be such a huge, Dan, tell me if you disagree, but there has to be such a huge discrepancy in income that I don't think that's not alimony. You come to me, you're the girl. I mean, you got to be married for 5 months to somebody real big for me to really think
to
like,
go
this
after
is going
that.
to be an alimony case, because 5 months is just not enough. To give you an idea, short-term marriage in Florida is under 7 years. More than 7 years, moderate. More than 17 years, a presumption of permanent alimony.
Damn.
Rebuttable. It is rebuttable. You can rebut it and you can fight it. And again, remember, it's not automatic. That's a myth. You got to prove up your case.
Okay. Onyx, $50 super chat. I enjoy the content. I live in Texas, have one young daughter from my ex-wife. She does the bare minimum for our child. I'd like to get to know what are the best ways to get full custody of my child.
So in Florida, we got away with the words full custody a long time ago. And what we have now is time sharing. So whether it's 10%, 50%, or 0%, right? Everybody thinks the other parent is a bad parent. What do you need to do? Well, first of all, to modify any existing order, you need to show a substantial change in circumstances that is involuntary. So, like, obviously, if your girl, your ex-wife or baby mama is wilding out, that's involuntary, right? You have nothing to do with her anymore. You didn't cause her to do the thing. I would say document.
What about drugs?
When we go to court, it's all about evidence, guys. And while your testimony does have weight, there is nothing like coming in with some blown up pictures of like things that you know, like the kid is, you know, the child comes to your house and he's got soiled panties, like, or so, I don't know. I know boys don't wear panties, you know, like soiled diapers, dirty clothes. You see the kid hasn't gone to see a doctor, hasn't seen a dentist in 3 years. Like, and what I would say for all men that are in this situation is to keep a diary, whether you keep it literally like a diary, whether it's a notepad or whether it's in your phone. That is contemporaneously being taken notes, like with dates and times or whatever. And you might feel like, damn, like a snitch. Trust me. Why is that important? Because that will be admissible in court. Yep. It is one of the exceptions to hearsay or whatever. You know, my man is way better than me on the evidence rules, but it is one of the exceptions. Like if you have been, you can't all of a sudden write everything the day before trial, right? Yeah. But if you have kept this notebook or in your phone, like in your notes, detailed notes, or a calendar where you literally, child was supposed to be picked up at 7, mom picked up and, you know, showed up at 9:30, half drunk. Boom. You know, you keep a log of all this stuff. Once you have enough, then we go to court. Don't come to me with one thing. Yeah. She came and picked up the kid one time drunk. That's really horrible. And if your kid was in danger, call the police if that's how you really feel. But one incident, unless it's really bad, is probably not going to be enough. It's going to be a multiple of things. And keep in mind, it's hard to take full custody of a child, whether you're a woman or a man, believe it or not, in Florida. You really gotta. I had a judge tell me straight up in Broward County a few years ago, literally, he said it just like this to me: unless the mom is a crackhead, I'm not taking the kid away from their mom, because the statute doesn't encourage that. It encourages that even if you are a F up parent, and this goes for men too or women, so it's both sides, right? They want the children to have both parents in their life, because like you said, and that's golden. It's best when both parents are in the child's life. You got to be a real mess up for the court to be like, yeah, you should not be in the child's life. And guess what? Even if you're a mess up, we represent people that have had drug issues, have had, you know, criminal issues, things that like anybody here would be like, yeah, take the kid away from her immediately, or him, right? You always can rehabilitate yourself. And with a good lawyer, we will work out a plan. We will propose it to the court. And there might be 20 steps you got to do, but I'm going to get you back your kid eventually. It might not be overnight. You got to work on it. You got to prove yourself to the court now, but it's not impossible to get that child back in your life.
Because I seen a girl, right? She would like look at her baby daddy's Instagram stories, right? Mm-hmm. So he's supposed to pick up the kid. He's out partying with friends. He was smoking weed on camera. Yep. And she took all that evidence and put it into court. Yep. And social media kind of messed up because now she's evidence that at least this time he was out partying on his Instagram.
Ironic, because we are on social media right now, I'm sure, but social media is the devil. When you are divorcing or have any paternity issues, guys, you know that feature that I guess when you do the stories, I found out the other day because my friend did not have me on her stories because she didn't want me to see what her craziness. Apparently, we're gonna talk about that later, girl. But anyway, do that. Like, don't like have your shit on private. Like, you know, really protect yourself, because yes, I've had cases that we have won and lost, all because of Instagram,
social media.
Literally, real quick. I had a guy, And you know what I'm talking about? The case from that attorney, the one that we were watching the video. I had a guy that said, "Oh, COVID hit. I can't pay the same child support." He was paying like $2,500 a month, which is a lot, whatever. Right? But he made a lot of money. Yo, the attorney, Exhibit A, Instagram photo. He just proposed to his fiance, and it's her with the ring like this in Instagram shit, and he's wearing like a Fendi coat and all this and that or whatever.
Man.
It wasn't one of my cases, but it was one of my colleagues' cases, and she showed us the video because by the way, everything right now is on Zoom for the most part. So that's even like gems, because you could see some of these cases. By the way, gentlemen, if you got the time, go on YouTube. A lot of your local courthouses allow you to go on YouTube and see the cases via Zoom or the YouTube, so you could see how the judges are, like what these hearings are like and what to expect. When she pulled out that photo of him with the Fendi coat, taking a picture with the new fiance with the ring like this, but he's there crying broke. Oh, that attorney wiped the floor, and she's like, "How much is that Fendi coat?" I mean, he had a good answer. He was like, "Oh, it's rented." She's like, "Oh, so you're high powered, you rent Fendi coats." So I'm like, just guys, social media is the devil. If you're in litigation right now, I would highly suggest you either silent, delete your profile, or make it, so that no one can see what is really going on with your life.
So, okay, so we got a bunch of questions here.
Yeah.
We'll do a fire round, try and make this quick. Okay, so if two people were in love, why would they need the government involved with a legal contract? If an employee was highly qualified for a job, why would he need a contract with a golden parachute? I think that's just a comment. Okay, Alameen, what if you video record her during the signing of the prenup, not under duress? Can that video still be used in court?
Listen, by the way, when you're going to do the prenup, if you really, really want to do it right, as right as possible, right? Remember what I said at the beginning, every contract you can try to fight. I mean, hello, if not, we wouldn't exist. We lawyers wouldn't exist. Obviously, even a good contract, somebody could still challenge it. Not only are we going to get it video recorded, we're going to also have a court reporter there. And this court reporter is going to also...
He's going to be typing up the whole thing, a transcript.
A transcript of what the proceedings
Stenographer,
happened.
I think it's called.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have it video taped as well. And your attorney is going to ask some tough questions to at the beginning. How do you feel today? Are you under any duress? Do you feel pressured? And this is all going to be on video. Yep. Have you had thoughts of reneging on this? Are you sure are you on any drugs that can impair your ability to sign this contract today? What did you take this morning? Any medicine? Oh, I took a Xanax or whatever. Do you think that we need to reschedule this? Is that affecting, you know what? I'd rather reschedule this when she's not on Xanax, when she's not on nothing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, video record it. And if you can afford a court reporter as well, this is going to be the best money you ever spend.
Perfect.
Okay, I had an issue with my ex where she filed the DV injunction in Miami when we had a custody battle in Tallahassee. I had an emergency pickup order, and Miami gave me issues executing it. How do we deal with issues like this?
So he's talking about an emergency pickup order. That's usually where, for whatever reason, you feel that the child should be with you and not the mom. This typically happens when, for example,
parents arrested.
No. So for example, like let's say you and I have a child together and the agreement says that I give him back to you on Sunday nights, but then I kept him. So you file an emergency motion and it's an emergency pickup order where you tell the judge, look, she's in violation of the agreement. She was supposed to give him back Sunday at 8:00. It is now Monday, 9 a.m. and she hasn't returned the child back. Yes, like a criminal warrants, sometimes the jurisdictions, it's funny, like he's up in Tallahassee, so that's Leon County. He's filing something up there, but then he wants Miami-Dade to execute on it. It's not like Leon County Sheriff is going to come down. It has to be Miami. So I could see how there could have been issues with that. I'm going to be very upfront, very honest with you. Pickup orders are difficult to enforce. And we haven't even talked about Hague Convention. That's on another show. I thought about you a lot, because, for example, just real quick, Nigeria is
man.
I told you last time I had a Nigerian client, one of my favorite guys ever. Nigeria is not part of the Hague Convention. So as part of his divorce, we knew that he will never be able to take the child to Nigeria, period, the end. It's not going to happen. Why? Because if for any reason he doesn't want to bring the child back, the wife can file anything she wants here in the United States. The United States per Hague Convention does not have the jurisdiction to go over there and pick up this child, despite even the child being a U.S. citizen. So it could get complicated and things like that. But pickup orders are they're difficult, but they are doable. They are doable.
Next question: paying a housewife a fixed salary to protect a man during a divorce.
So I love this question. It goes in line with having her work for you, right? Having her work at your company, whatever. I mean, look, that's definitely and Dan. I mean, that's definitely a good way to like put her on salary. Like she earns money, but at the end of the day, like you also want to separate yourself from that. So like if it's just you giving her an allowance, like
yeah,
you know, I mean, I don't know if Dan has a comment on that, but that's actually pretty creative.
My comment is once you put her on the payroll and you get divorced, she's going to have the need that you just established during the intact marriage. So you might have to keep her on the payroll. That's a problem.
Oh, damn,
man. Okay.
It's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
You guys are getting a lot of free game right now.
But look, guys, remember also, you're also like not for nothing. You're dealing with very experienced attorneys, especially Dan. He's like 18 years in the game, like real talk. So like, not every attorney's gonna think of that. Like, let's keep it real. Like you really, you gotta really think outside the box and really know what you're doing to like even think of that. Like some people will be like, oh, well then you had a job the whole time. Instead of thinking like that, like, oh wait, so he established that need? Oh, he got to keep that need. Go.
Gotcha. Adil Javat, can you overestimate your assets during prenup? Say your portfolio is worth more than it actually is. You said overestimate earlier, right? Remember?
Yeah, there's no problem with overestimating. I mean, again, it's not really even the problem is, yeah, exactly. There's no problem with it. It's what you don't want to do is undervalue. You don't want to undervalue.
Would men be protected from child support custody issues if they only marry women who have a similar income and don't depend on him financially? Cold Steel is a pretty good question.
So child support is always going to be child support. And it's going to be dependent on both incomes, who pays the health insurance, and the time sharing. But as far as alimony, like, yeah, like I'm going to keep it real. There's a reason why I married Dan. Like I knew that I was going to hopefully be a boss and, whatever. But I did learn a lot in the last podcast. I have been for the last week letting him feel like a man.
Nice.
Real quick. I know it's unrelated. I know.
Real quick, can we bring Dan on real quick so we can talk to people? Come on, man.
But real talk, like
Come say hello.
You guys did drop some gems that day. Like I had never really thought about like what a man really wants. Am I moving over?
No. He's okay. He can steal your mic.
Real talk. The chat is saying, we need to bring Dan on because he sounds like he knows his stuff too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Everything I know from him.
I'm having come.
Dan, you want to introduce yourself to people real fast?
My name is Daniel Silver. I'm the marital and family law partner at Prado Law, and I work with my wife. I joined my wife's firm because I figured once I married her, she's always going to be my boss. So might as well just get used to it,
Yeah.
Perfect. No. So he doesn't work for me. We work together. He is my partner. He is our partner. And so we're really blessed to have been able to bring him on board and for him to bless all our clients and potential clients with the knowledge that he has. And not only that, he's very passionate about his work. I mean, I think you could tell both of us, we love this. This is what we love. And I don't know. It's been like 2 hours. I feel like I just got here. Like,
yeah. Well, 140.
So yeah, I mean, it's what we love to do. And so real talk, like honestly, just kind of like unrelated completely, but in terms of like
we're wrapping up
the man making the woman making the man feel like, oh, that's really good knowledge and that's really good because you're right. Too much Beyonce, too much J-Lo, too much whatever. We're thinking like we need to be like bosses and this and that and da. And like men do want to feel like they are our protectors. They are here to, feel like a man and more than likely be the last decision maker on big major decisions. And I think as women, we do need to learn to be a little bit more conscious of that. I'm not going to say submissive, but more conscious of that. Is that at least midway? All right, go, darling.
She got to submit, but that's just me. Okay. That was just a comment. Edward Davis, $10. Is it easy to prove alienation of affection?
So alienation of affection is not necessarily a thing here, but there is alienation when you alienate the child from the parent. So, for example, and this is very real. And this is another thing that as soon as I see it at the consultation, I tell them I ain't with it with the women when they try to use the children as pawns in a divorce.
Right.
That is like super, like, I'm not cool with it. I am a product of a divorced family. And one of the things that I can tell you right now, and my mom is a Colombian Latin, typical, stereotypical woman, okay, is that she never, ever spoke bad about my father in front of me, ever. Okay. And for all the ladies listening right now, don't do it. If he is a scumbag, believe me, we, the children, will figure it out eventually. Okay. You don't have to indoctrinate us with this and you don't have to alienate the child because at the end of the day, the child deserves both parents and it's not your role or your job to alienate the child. Now, with that being said, if the husband or ex or spouse, whatever, is physically, sexually, or mentally abusing the child, that is different. Of course, you're going to want to protect your child, and you're not going to want your child to be a part of that. But for those three things, don't alienate your children from the other spouse. Like, why? Or a former spouse.
So, okay. So we got some other things that came in. Great show, guys. This was a great episode. Men, stay safe out there. Live the free agent lifestyle. That was Nigel Johnson, $20. Thank you so much. Bite the bait. Hey, man, listen, after this show, if I was in Florida, this is the only lawyer I would hire. Lady got bars, plus the husband. God damn, defense better than the 1985 Bears.
There you go.
Wow.
So
it's better than Jim McMahon and William Refrigerator Perry and Walter Payton, I believe.
yeah. Okay. We discussed crypto assets. Sean Biscayne. No. Okay. What the? Jennifer talked about this, but Corey Gaines said $10. What does Jennifer think about the weaponization of divorce and child against men? Finding out the bitter harsh truth.
Against it. But there are attorneys that will capitalize it, will use it, and they know that, like, we have a case right now where everything is centered on the kids, everything. Like, this man lives and dies for his kids, and the wife knew it, and she capitalized on it. So guess what? She is kind of sort of cleaning him out. She's keeping the house. She's this, she's that, she's that. But he got his 50%. And that's all he cared about. That's all he wanted. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is, you know? So
this was a
I
good
think
question.
it's wrong. I think it's wrong. And you know what? She gonna get her karma. She gonna get hers one day. You bet. You.
Eugene Morgan, $10. Can I cohabitate with a girl and put her under contract to be a surrogate mom to avoid child support?
You know.
Yeah.
That's a complex one.
You can't, because the problem is once you have a baby with someone and once you guys separate, she'll put you on child support for the surrogate baby that you had.
Bam.
You know.
There you go.
It's your child.
Yeah.
Once
Yes.
you have a child, you have a child support obligation. I tell my clients all the time, it's easier to have a child in Miami-Dade County than it is to get a library card.
Oh man.
An application to get a library card. You know?
Oh my God. Okay, I think we're pretty much good because the other questions here were already answered during the show.
Perfect.
Oh, last thing, counselor, how hard would it be to have the family courts? Oh no, we already answered that one. Vote. Bam. I think we're good, guys. You know what we'll do? Three more. Oh, the steel card, $10. Wow. Thank you, counselor, for educating this community on these complex topics. I paid my attorney $400 an hour to get this education. Soak it up, fellas. Hashtag risky business. Hashtag free agent lifestyle. Who else, Chris? We got Nico Jordan, $10. Why does a prenup fail in court and alimonies are expected to pay aside from my force and kids? Can you answer that one real quick?
So real quick, but most of the time it's duress. It's the timing. You're giving her the prenup a week before the wedding, hours before the wedding. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would want at least a couple of months before the wedding, if possible.
Even a couple of weeks, enough time where you can fairly reflect upon the seriousness of agreement, discuss with your advisors, and not feel any pressure. So yeah, don't be given a prenup the day before the wedding, because I don't care how good the document is, it won't stand up. And then the other thing is just not disclosing. Like,
right. Full disclosure.
The law basically provides that the discovery or the disclosure does not need to be exact or minute, but if you conceal something, you're dead.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's going to attack your credibility. And if you live in the United States, credibility is everything in court.
Damn,
guys.
son.
So yeah, guys, a lot of free game giving you guys.
Damn, son. Where'd you find this?
With that said, where can the people find you guys?
So we can be found on www.prada.law. That's our law firm website. Daniel Silver is not on any social media. So ladies, yeah, get away.
I'm on Facebook, but my wife manages my profile.
Actually,
I don't even think I have the password.
It's on my phone. But yeah, Facebook, my handle on Instagram, my personal handle is @PrattLaw. My personal professional, I should say. I got a personal handle, but we're not sharing that.
Yeah, no.
That was
sure.
private. But @PrattLaw, @Prada.law, www.prada.law, info@Prada.law is our email, and you can also give us a call. First consultation is free, 888-88-LEGAL. Even the phone call is free. You have absolutely nothing to do.
And Chris is putting up the websites up.
Thank you.
So I'm going to call it right here. We will bring you both back if you guys are okay with it to talk about paternity. And to also discuss.
Did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah.
Just, I hate talking about how great I am. So and how great Jennifer is. So if you really want to know, go to avvo.com, avvo.com. Look us up. Look at our profiles. Our over 70 client reviews, all 5 stars, all the endorsements. It speaks to themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, Jen helped us with some legal stuff right before this show, guys, because Frank Castle has some things come up sometimes. Being Frank Castle.
Your computer, if you want me to.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be like a quick version, but I'll
for tonight. I gotta say one thing though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you,
Daniel.
Because now I'm convinced I ain't never getting married again. God damn!
No, guys, thank you so much for coming on. Like, I really think this is like one of the most important episodes. Guys, screw womanizing and all this other stuff. This is how you protect yourself when you're done with the womanizing. So it is what it is, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the show, guys.
Thank you for having me.
DianzOnDemandSystem.com if you guys want to get the thing. And then also Tiege Hanley, guys, click the link below to get a discount on there. Get your skincare goods so you don't look like crap in divorce court. And other than that, man, we'll catch you guys on the next one. We will bring them back. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And we have 11 p.m. a late night show with 6 ladies in the studio. So
yes, which is not going to be as professional as this one was. So I'll catch you guys there. Peace.
Peace.